This Notebook LM video explores Jeremiah's prophecy of a new covenant and how it reshaped humanity's relationship with God. The old system of priests, rituals, and external laws gave way to a promise of direct access, inner transformation, and complete forgiveness. The New Testament declares this covenant fulfilled through Christ, making the old system obsolete.
You ever heard a promise that's so big, so out there, you kind of think, no way? Well, today we're diving into one of the most revolutionary ideas in the entire Bible, an ancient prophecy that completely flipped the script on what it means to know God. Let's get into it.
Okay, so it all kicks off with this just wild statement from the prophet Jeremiah. I mean, imagine hearing that. No more teachers needed to explain who God is. Everyone, from the top of the ladder to the bottom, will just know him. That is a pretty bold claim, right? It almost sounds impossible.
And that's the big puzzle, isn't it? I mean, think about it. For literally thousands of years, faith has been something that's taught. It's passed down through scriptures, through community leaders, through parents. So how could this prophecy possibly be true? What on earth was Jeremiah getting at?
All right, so to really get this, we've got to approach it like a detective solving a mystery. And our first clue isn't actually in the promise itself. It's in the world that this promise was first spoken into.
You know, any big change, any revolution, it's always pushing back against something, right? So to really grasp the power of this new covenant, we've got to rewind and take a look at the old one.
The way things worked back in Jeremiah's day, well, it was all about go-betweens. You couldn't just go straight to God. There were all these layers of separation between an ordinary person and God.
So think about what it would actually feel like to live in that system. First off, it was hierarchical, which basically means you needed special people, priests, prophets, to talk to God for you. Then it was mediated. You needed specific rituals in a specific temple with specific sacrifices over and over again. And the law itself? It was external, written on stone tablets, all about your outward actions. And get this, access was incredibly limited. The most sacred place, the Holy of Holies, was off limits to everybody except for one guy on one single day of the year. This all created a sense of distance. God could feel very far away, very formal, and really only accessible to an elite few.
And here's the kicker. Even the Bible itself kind of says, hey, this old system, it's not the final version. The book of Hebrews makes it really clear. If that first way had been perfect, there'd be no need for a second one. It was basically a placeholder, just waiting for a promised upgrade.
And that upgrade, well, that's Jeremiah's prophecy. And we're not talking about a small software update here. No, this was a blueprint for a whole new operating system for your spiritual life.
This slide just lays it out so clearly. On one side, you've got the old way, laws on stone, all about external actions, priests as gatekeepers, and sins that had to be covered again and again. But then look at the new promise. The law moves into our hearts and minds. It's about an internal change. You get direct access to God, and sins aren't just covered, they're forgiven and forgotten. Every single change here moves from something distant and difficult to something close and personal.
Now, according to the New Testament writers, this wasn't some far-off dream anymore. They were basically shouting from the rooftops that with the arrival of Jesus Christ, this new covenant, this whole new way of connecting with God, it had landed, it was here.
And listen to how direct the language is here. The author of Hebrews, quoting Jeremiah, flat out says that just by calling it new, he made the first one obsolete. Wow. I mean, it's like saying your flip phone is obsolete because the smartphone has arrived. It's done. A better way is here.
So what is this new covenant, really? Let's nail it down. It's a relationship defined by direct, personal access to God. And this isn't achieved through rituals or priests, but through the Holy Spirit living within a believer, all made possible by the finished work of Jesus.
Okay, so this whole new relationship really stands on three massive, revolutionary pillars. Let's break them down one by one.
So, first up, the law gets an upgrade. It moves from being this external thing, like stone tablets, to something internal, written on our hearts. And that's a huge shift, right? It's the difference between doing something because you have to and doing it because you actually want to. It's about desire, not just duty.
Okay, promise number 2 is what some people call the democratization of divine knowledge. It's a fancy way of saying the whole system gets flattened out. The hierarchy is gone. The gatekeepers, see you later. And that is a huge deal. It means everybody, from the least to the greatest, remember, gets a direct line to God.
Your connection is just as real, just as valid as anyone else's. And finally, number 3, complete, total forgiveness. And listen, this isn't just about God wiping the slate clean for a little while. The promise is that God chooses to not even remember our forgiven sins. I mean, think about that. The barrier that sin creates between us and God, it's just gone, permanently. The freedom in that is just, wow.
Okay, so this is all really cool history and theology, but so what? How does some ancient promise from Jeremiah actually change anything for you and me, right here, right now?
And that brings us right back to where we started, that big, puzzling question. If we all have this direct line, if we all have this internal guide, then why do we still have teachers and pastors? Did Jeremiah miss something?
Nope, not at all. And the New Testament actually gives us a super clear answer. In the book of Ephesians, it says Christ gave teachers to the church for a very specific job, to equip his people.
And this is the key, you guys. The whole job description changed. Teachers are no longer the bouncers at the club who decide if you get in to see God. Nope. Instead, they're more like personal trainers. They help you understand and navigate the direct access you already possess. They're not giving you the key to the gym, they're showing you how to use the equipment that's already yours.
So this ancient promise has profound modern implications. It means every single believer has direct access to God. It means the Holy Spirit acts as an internal guide. It means your assurance is based on what Christ did, not on how well you're performing. And it means community is for encouragement and support, not for getting you through a gatekeeper to God.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. And this one's personal. This isn't just some dusty old theological idea. It's supposed to be a living, breathing reality. So if the promise is direct access and an internal relationship with the Creator, my question for you is, how are you experiencing it?